Hello, this is Wild Lee from Wild Lee Tarot, and this is your Moonday message for the week beginning March 29th, 2021. Whew. There is definitely a crunch in the field that I'm sensing. I can feel it behind my shoulder blades, behind my heart space. There is this desire to integrate that's present, but it has not yet landed for us. So I'm not sure if you're feeling that in your bones. For myself, a good story to exemplify what I'm feeling. Yesterday, I went on a 2.5 mile walk. It was sunny, gorgeous, 55 degrees. And then by the time the sun began to set, I was getting snow where I live here on Y East on Mount Hood. And I found within myself this desire to embrace the sun and the warmth and this experience that I was preferring, and a deep, deep resistance to that snow and the cold and the opposite side of the spectrum that was gifted to me by the time the day came to a close. So that is kind of encapsulates the energy that is present for us this week. That it's going to be a push-pull, a little topsy-turvy. There are extremes, polarities that are available and influencing us collectively this week. And the cards gave a really clear message that it's up to us to choose how we roll with it. Right? Because there's nothing inherently bad or wrong with the snow falling. And there's nothing inherently good or right with the sunshine. It's simply preferences. It's simply preferences, right? And so the two cards that came forward for me in the tarot, what is the energy for us this week? We got two twos. This is a bit unusual. We got the Two of Wands and the Two of Cups. And so wands, this is the element of air. It is the space where our intuition and our intellect collide, where we come to a place of finding knowing, not just by logicking our way through it, but by also feeling into the gut, feeling into the heart, coming into our own truth telling through all of those avenues coming together. And the twos are always about choice. So we get to choose. So my mind did not prefer snow, but I get to choose. I can choose to not resist it. I can choose to simply be with it and say, oh, look, now it's snowing. How curious. I get to experience snow after such a beautiful day. It's the opportunity and the invitation to come back inward and soften our preferences, soften our attachments to the way we think things ought to be, to the way we think things should be. And this in particular is very mental, right? Those mental attachments to our preferences. It's an invitation to look at that and recognize how often we might actually slip into resistance and discomfort because we are simply living an experience that we don't prefer. And if we can simply recognize, oh, I don't prefer this, and I don't need to categorize it or judge it or put a label on it that would increase my suffering, I can simply say, oh, it's snowing, I don't prefer that, and then move on. I don't have to allow myself to suffer, right? And then we have the Two of Cups. And the cups is the watery realm. It's the realm of the emotional body. It's our feelings. And so we have the invitation here that we get to choose if we want to get emotionally embroiled in things that are not our preferences this week. Do we want to have feelings about these things, or can we simply acknowledge to ourselves, oh, that's not my preference, or oh, I had an attachment to a relationship working out a certain way. I had an attachment to my day working out a certain way. And I get to choose, do I want to emotionally get worked up about it? Do I want to have some big feelings about it? Or do I want to soften, release my preferences and say, oh, I acknowledge, I don't prefer that. I acknowledge, and I'm going to save my energy for feeling something different. And the overall archetype that is encompassing these two choices, these ways of being for us this week, we have Underworld. And Underworld, this is a space, a shadow space, the space of going inward, of looking at things that we don't prefer, of looking at our attachments, looking at our traumas, looking at our wounds. It's the archetype of taking a pause. It's the archetype of going in the grave, the tomb, underneath the underworld. It's also reminiscent to me of the soil and the seeds that are lying underneath. And the message that I'm hearing is that we can't grow and blossom if we don't take those times to go inward, to go underground, to go into the underworld and rest and clear out what isn't truth for us, to clear out things that have been eating up a lot of our bandwidth, right? You know, if we are focused solely in our life on comfort and getting our preferences met, then we often miss a lot of grand opportunities for self-growth and for challenging ourselves and for new opportunities and experiences that we might not choose on our own because they're outside of our preferences at that time. Right? But once we grow and expand, we come to a place where we have appreciation for these different experiences, these different ways of being. We only know what we know when we know it, right? And so if we don't take some risk, if we don't allow ourselves to be uncomfortable occasionally, then we may not know what we're missing in this life. And so going into the underworld, underground, allowing the seed to germinate, allowing ourselves to be a little bit uncomfortable in exchange for the blossoming that will occur afterward can be a really enriching experience. And that is the message for us all this week. Allow yourself to recognize that you have power, that you have, there's not control. That's not the word I want to use, but you definitely have influence in the way that you experience your life and experience your days and what moves through your days and how you receive them. This is your body, this is your channel, and you get to have input in how you activate, in how you react, in how you respond. You have a lot of wiggle room in that bandwidth to hone and master how you want to receive and reflect in this lifetime. So I hope that message serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need. My March calendar is full and April is open. The first week is almost full. But if you would like to share space with me, if I can support you, hold some space and help you find your truth as you're navigating, moving through this springtime, please do reach out. You can find info in my bio or in the show notes. And until next Monday, take good care.